Hi, I'm Christine Herman of Herman's Quality Meat Shop in Newark, Delaware. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about serving sizes and what's appropriate for you to have for your meal. Are you ready? We have a lot of customers that walk into our store and know exactly what they want and exactly the size steak or hamburger patty or chicken breast that they want. And then we have others that aren't really sure or don't really know or understand the actual size of a piece of meat. So we, as part of our job in our custom cut store, is to help guide you, the customer, into knowing what is best and what is comfortable for you from your perspective, as far as whether you're a big meat eater or a small meat eater, if you're feeding children, if you're feeding all adults. And then we can figure out what is the best cut of meat and the best serving portion for you. And I have some things on my block here that we're going to use as some basic examples of sizes of servings. So oftentimes, and I've had videos in the previous of like large steaks, like I know one of the videos we did had a tomahawk steak, and that's a really big piece of meat. And we're hoping that you're sharing that with somebody. But if you're not, well, that's okay too. However, your typical steak portion is something like this. This is a strip steak. This is 3/4 of an inch, and this is about 3/4 of a pound. And if you can see by looking at that, that's pretty good amount of meat there. There's not much waste. There's a little bit of fat here, and you can see the back portion of that and that little bit right here along the side. But that is a nice solid piece of meat. So that's a good, by the time it cooks down, you're going to get almost 10 ounces of meat. That's a lot, but that's a nice portion. The ribeye, this one, is the same. This is about a good 3/4 of an inch, and it has a little more marbling in here and along the outside edge, but not much, and the beautiful marbling on the inside. And again, this is about 3/4 of a pound. That's a lot of meat, but you will lose some of that in the cooking because of the fat. This piece of ribeye is over an inch, and this piece is about 1.25 pounds. That is a lot. This is a piece of meat that should be shared, and I say should be because I'm not going to tell you how much you should eat or how much you want to eat. That's not my job, but my job is to give you some ideas of what a big piece of meat looks like. This could be easily shared amongst 2 people or maybe even 2 adults and a child, just to give you an idea. Now, I'm going to slide these back and we're going to talk about fillets, because fillets are another one of those pieces of meat that I have customers come in and say, I want a 10-ounce fillet, I'm hungry. 10 ounces of solid meat is a lot of meat. And a little tidbit, did you know that the best serving size of meat that our bodies, as human bodies, can digest is really only 3 ounces? That's really all we should be consuming. Because again, you figure a steak portion or any type of protein, if you have a vegetable and maybe a potato to go with it, that's quite a bit of food in one sitting. Anyway, let's go back to it. So this is a 5-ounce fillet. Nice solid piece of meat, a little bit of marbling. You can see a little bit of fat around that. This is a 6-ounce serving. And again, you can see that depending upon where I'm cutting it from, how it stands upright, and we can always smash that down to make it cook a little bit more uniform. And then this particular piece of meat is a 7-ounce fillet. That is a solid piece of meat. There won't be any loss when you cook that. That is a very hearty portion. So again, just to give you an idea of what that looks like, I'm going to set these aside. and we're going to talk about burgers, hamburgers. This is a 5-ounce burger, a 6-ounce burger, 7, and an 8. 8 ounces. Those are some hearty beef patties. Now, yes, in our ground beef, you're going to lose a little bit and it's going to shrink. Again, you want to be sure that you can eat all of that, or you're sharing it with someone, or you don't mind leftovers, because that's a good portion of meat right there. I wanted that to be made aware because so many customers of ours will come in and say, well, what size do I want? How big do I really want it? Well, again, and even when you go into a restaurant and they serve you an 8-ounce burger, they're going to have it on a big bun with a piece of tomato, maybe some lettuce and a pickle and French fries. That is one hearty meal. Just something to think about. Chicken breasts are pretty simple. They come according to the animal itself, the chicken itself, and you've got maybe a 6-ounce piece there, and this piece is probably 8 ounces as well, or also. And this is a nice big portion that maybe you would again want to split or share with somebody. This one maybe you could eat yourself. This one you might want to share, maybe even share it with a child. I don't know, but something to think about. I don't have examples here on my block, but if you were to do lamb chops, usually 2, maybe 3 lamb chops, because each lamb chop is only about that big and an inch. But lamb has a tendency to be rich. So typically 2 is enough for a serving. Ham is another one of those products that has a bone or it's boneless. And if it has a bone in it, you might want to consider about 3/4 pound per person, because by the time you take into consideration the bone weight and maybe some leftovers, that is a good way for that we judge how much to prepare for you. So like at a holiday, maybe Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, you're serving 10 people. We figure if they're 10 adults, then we figure about 7.5 pound pieces enough for everybody. We also have a tendency to take 2 what I would call child-size portions, whether they're adults with small appetites or they're children that don't eat a whole lot. We usually consider 2 children to equal 1 adult portion. And I hope this isn't confusing, but certainly I'm happy to clarify any of this in our comments. But again, another way for us to answer questions to get an idea of how much we should prepare for you in either a ham or a roast. And if it's a boneless ham, we'll get back to that ham there. If it's a boneless ham, maybe you only need about 1/2 pound per person, because just like the filet or the chicken breast, it's a solid piece of meat and you're not going to be having any loss. So you can go straight for that full 1/2 pound. And that might even be too much. Again, we could go back to like a 6-ounce serving is a fair amount to consider, unless you want leftovers and you're going to be having company for a couple days and you want to make sure you have enough ham or for a couple days or for breakfast the next day. So just to kind of give you an idea there. Also, when we calculate, and I'll throw out one other piece of meat, when we calculate poultry, in particular turkey, we usually figure 1 pound per person. And that is a significant amount. It sounds like a lot of meat, but you have a lot of bone in and waste in a turkey. So if you're, again, if you're having 10 people, we would figure out maybe a 10 to 12 pound turkey. And that would give you enough for maybe some leftovers also. Because again, we know that you're not just going to be sitting down and eating turkey. You're going to have appetizers, you're going to have vegetables, you're going to have stuffing, you're going to have dessert. So this way you'll have ample without having too much. And one of the things that we have learned over the years in our business and talking with our customers is 9 times out of 10, our customers don't want to be short. They don't want to be embarrassed at the kitchen table or at the dining room table saying, oh, there's not quite enough for everybody, or we have to skimp, or I'm not really hungry tonight as the hostess, I'm not going to eat. Well, that's silly because we didn't accommodate enough for everybody. So we always try to err a little bit on the heavy side so that everybody has enough. It's always better to have leftovers than be scraping the plate at the end of the night. So that's just some ideas that I wanted to share with you, and hopefully that's helpful to give you an idea of what an honest, healthy portion of meat looks like. We didn't talk about pork chops. Pork chops are averaging about 3/4 to an inch bone-in or boneless, and that's a nice size portion for a pork chop as well. I did want to mention that. I hope this was helpful. I hope it wasn't too overwhelming, but again, it's something that we can discuss. Either comments, if you have any questions in the comments, feel free to include them there. You can always call our store and we can talk more details, especially if you wanted to order something or if you weren't sure what you wanted to order somewhere else. I'm happy to give you some advice on that. So I hope this was helpful. Thanks so much. You've heard the expression, what's in your wallet? What's in your kitchen? That's what we're going to talk about in this little kitchen tip. I have here in front of me some of my basic must-have kitchen utensils. And that's what I want to talk about tonight in a brief amount of time, because we all have a kitchen full or a light kitchen of utensils. And we can get away with a little bit, or we have one of everything. And we really don't have to have one of everything, but we can have one of everything. One of my favorite kitchen tools are spatulas. They come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors. Now, I brought 2 of these tonight to show you in this video. You're not going to be able to see real close up, but this one, after using it all the time, is starting to wear, and it's starting to crack and split in different places, which reminds me, time to put that aside, because that's real important. Updating your utensils is just as important as having those utensils. A spatula, I happen to like this one because it acts as a double when I'm cooking, okay? I like a metal one. This is great for like biscuits and cookies. Many people like to cook with wooden utensils. I don't have to, but a lot of people do. So wooden utensils are also very important for certain types of cooking, and I do recognize that, and I appreciate that. To me, a must-have, these little guys. One size or 2. You can just get away with one, and again, I am noticing, and I brought this for the example, is that it's starting to wear. It's great to have this silicone because it doesn't scratch. However, makes me wonder, did I eat that? Did that end up in one of my meals? That's not a good thing. So you know where this one's going to go. A fork. Having a nice long fork is really important for taking meat out of the oven and also for cutting meat, because you want to make sure that you can work this way so you have something stable to hold on to when you're cutting your roast, your chicken, your turkey. Spoons are a must-have. They can be slotted or they can be solid. I like to have one of each, and I do like to have a little one because this is perfect for a little bowl of soup, like for lunch, or a big pot of soup. Vegetable brush, potatoes, celery. I love mine. Gotta have. Tongs. They're great for anything from ice cubes to turning baby back ribs in the oven. A big soup ladle. Gotta have a can opener. And a peeler. This is a very important tool to have, and it has to be one that not only you can use, but if you want help in the kitchen, make sure that they can use it as well. I learned that the hard way in my house. But anyway, all of these items are important to have, whatever quantity, whatever size, whatever quality you want. You can buy them from the grocery store up to a specialty kitchen store and spend $3 to $30 per piece. As long as you have things that make cooking easy and fun for you, that's what's important. They also make nice gifts if you're going to somebody's house as a housewarming gift or a Christmas present or a birthday present. If you happen to notice that you're there in another time and you feel like, oh, it'd be nice if they had a bigger ladle, you could always buy them a little gift. That's a nice idea. But the point is making cooking fun when you have the utensils that you need. And they don't have to be perfect. Again, they don't have to be expensive. They just have to work for you in your kitchen. And these are just simple ideas. So I hope that that was a helpful tip. And you're probably wondering, well, that was a really simple tip. And it is a simple tip. But sometimes it's good to be reminded of the simple things. And it's also a good reminder to look at your tools and make sure that they're in good, safe condition, just like we found that I have at least 2 tools that need to be replaced. So I hope that this was a helpful tip. Thank you very much. Having the right portion when you are serving your family, your friends, or even yourself is really important. And I hope in this video we were able to cover some of that information to make it a little easier for you to judge how much to buy when you go shopping. So I hope that you will consider subscribing to our channel, giving us a thumbs up, and becoming part of our Herman family. Thank you.